And we're live, and we're going to see how this goes. Hi, it's Nicole. This is Hairly Relatable. This is episode number 11, and we are coming to you from the actual salon, beautiful revenge salon in Westwood, New Jersey. So I've been getting a lot of people saying, why don't you record from like inside the actual salon instead of your dining room table and get a real like live feed from your podcast from actually what's happening. And well, one, because I'm very distracted all the time and I can't hear, and two, because people get in and out and the phone rings and I stop and say hi. So we're gonna see how this goes, and I might be back in the facial room for next round or my dining room table. But here we go. Nonetheless, this is episode number 11, Hairly Relatable, with your host, Nicole. And what we talk about today does not necessarily reflect the views, policies, or opinions of beautiful revenge salon where I am here employed, and hopefully soon will be employed after this episode. But I'm just kidding. This is a good one today. I'm calling this episode Honor Your 8-Year-Old Self. And what does that mean? Well, it's almost spring, and in my last podcast I said I'll see you in March. Well, joke's on me, it's still February. I must have been ahead or behind myself, depends upon how you look at it, but it is still February and it's still cold here in New Jersey. It's a little bit of snow on the ground, but temperatures are definitely rising, and the springtime's like nice. It's like a rebirth time, and a lot of people like to change their look in the spring and go lighter, and I'm one of them. And we always try to do too much to our hair too fast, but it's a nice prep for just taking off length and taking off the split ends and just clean up, spring cleaning, right? We're not only cleaning our houses, our minds, our hair, our energy, everything. It's just a cleansing. And what I mean by honoring your 8-year-old self too is like, I always feel that you would get your hair cut when you were younger, and your parents would take you in like 4 times a year for a cut. Maybe if you were lucky, if you weren't getting the kitchen scissors across your bangs. I might drop a picture if I can learn how to edit that in, because I dug one up the other day of my kitchen scissor bang haircut. But you'd go to the hairstylist, the barber, what have you, and you'd get that nice haircut, and usually it was the after spring, you go into the winter cut or back to school, but that's something about that spring cut hit, and it tends to be like one of the best cuts ever, because it was like that fresh new look, and it wasn't the dreadful back to school after the summer ended, or it wasn't like, oh, winter and there's nothing else to do, so let's go get your hair cut. It was like fresh and new, and there's something about that time of year as a kid. And of course you didn't really have like pics of the litter of what kind of hairstyle you wanted back when I grew up. And nowadays, I guess your 8-year-olds and younger are really telling you like, yeah, this is the style that I want, which is crazy because I don't cut many kids anymore, but having a boy and having an industry kid is basically like, I told him, oh yeah, this is how you're wearing your hair. And looking around at even his peers growing up, their hair is amazing, and the styles that they have. And we didn't look like that growing up. No, again, insert kitchen scissors and bad perms. And I didn't get a perm until I was probably in 7th grade. And it looked like I stuck my finger in a damn light socket. So it was just the wrong cut, the wrong texture, the wrong perm rod. And had I known, had my mom knew where to send me, it was just all wrong. But nowadays it's all right. And you're even seeing like kids with these colors. And I'm an advocate for the right color on youth hair because I started highlighting my son's hair at 6. And I have one kid. I said, oh, he's a boy, that's all right. I'm gonna make it my job to make sure that I get to color his hair. So at the end of the day too, it's fine. I had it under my watchful eye, and I won't take any heat for it because it was my decision. And absolutely, it's his signature look. He's 10 and he walks a full head of highlights, and some of his soccer buddies have highlights in their hair too. So as long as it's done tastefully and respectfully, I see like nothing wrong with that either. But I think one of my favorite haircuts that, I mean, I wasn't a kid, but I was probably like 19, and I could still consider that a kid. I had this bob. It was more like a lob, I guess, but I went to my hairstylist and I said, chop it. I had really, really long hair at the time. And she said, are you sure? I said, yeah, I'm ready. Do it. And I remember it was like just under my chin, and I had my natural hair. I probably maybe had some highlights done at the time, but it was one of my favorite haircuts. And now will my hair grow that long and that thick now? Definitely not. But I remember that I loved that look. And it was almost like when like that whole Rachel haircut came out and everybody had like the Rachel do. And that was a huge, 90s look, the blowout and everything. But then when she had that style, that short bob cut, and she was wearing it really flippy, then she got it into that bob, and it was right on her neckline. And she had that really sexy neckline, and it looked really good on her. I think that it was a signature look that was underrated. I thought that that was one of her best looks too. And she wore it so sexy and so maturely that everybody remembers her for the Rachel, but they don't remember when she cut it into that like sexy bob sleek look. So it's funny, like where you like remember those cuts. But again, with these like honoring your 8-year-old self with these massively terrible haircuts and stuff, what made me think about this was the fact that a lot of the kids that I started with 20 years ago are starting to like go to college now, and they're even beyond college and getting jobs in the real world, moved back home, moved out of New Jersey. So it's really been a journey. And I think back and I'm like, wow, I gave them maybe those first haircuts that were those awkward stages of their life, or maybe one of my kids came in with like a Justin Bieber inspiration pic at the time, and we're going back all these years, and it's definitely crazy to think maybe that was one of the cuts that have changed their their lives, like where they're going to pull it out at one of their staff meetings and be like, hey guys, look at this. When I was in junior high, this was my hair, the Beebs. But that's why I mean to say honor your 8-year-old self, because it is such a journey of like those beginning haircuts and the styles that we wore. And when you look back and you say like, yeah, the kitchen scissor bangs to the bad perms, and then think back to that one butchered haircut and how old were you when you had it, and hopefully you weren't like yesterday or the day before that, crying in the corner over somebody who traumatized you with a bad haircut. I mean, we've all been there, and even some later in life, unfortunately. But I had one when I was in probably fifth grade, I think. I had my dad had brought me to the barber shop. Maybe it was a little younger, but this was right before I started perming my hair, and it was like the woman at the barber shop, and she gave me a layered cut in thick Italian girl hair with the jet black, greasy bangs. Did not lay well, and it was a whole mess, and I cried and cried, and it just grew out really icky. And it took years actually for that cut to grow out. And I remember like it didn't define me, but still like it just looked ugly. And I definitely will always remember it, but I won't honor it, but I'll honor the fact that I went through it to know at that age that that was a bad haircut. So again, it's a matter of honoring your younger self, your 8-year-old self. In that case, maybe it was a little older, but still, it's honoring the fact that I went through that trauma and a bad haircut to know what a good haircut was or a good style, or to advocate for myself, saying like, yeah, no, we're not going to do that again. And unfortunately, shit happens and mistakes happen, and maybe you catch a bad cut somewhere or a stylist that doesn't listen, and lessons learned, right? But it makes you a better advocate to stand up for yourself and say, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, and no, don't do that. And again, now there's so many things that you can do if you do get a cut like that. There's extensions and colors fixable, hopefully, and we roll with it. And it's open communication too. It's always about communicating and being the best version of yourself for the people that show up for you. So the one thing that I really enjoyed the other day too was and I'm gonna put this in my reel. You could check this out. I'm gonna load it up on Shorts and I'm gonna load it up on my Insta. Hey. And her daughter, and I've been doing my client, and I did her hair for her wedding. She's a friend of mine as well, and it was great. My client put in at her appointments pictures that she wanted me to draw. She drew the pictures and she wanted me to style her hair that way. And there was one that actually looked like space buns, and it was just the cutest thing. And when she had come in, I cut her hair and said, okay, which one are we going to do? And she's like, that one. And she's 7. So cut her hair. And I said, okay, this is what I think this looks like. And I put her hair in little space buns. Now, like I said, I don't cut kids often. I will cut my clients' kids because I think it's like a generational thing and it's a legacy. And um, it's something that I pay homage to my clients to do that because I feel that it's important. Plus, it's a connection point too, because their kids trust me, because their parents trust me, and that's why I like to do it. And I don't really open up that to many. You know, take a special interview to for me to do that, and I don't mean to be like snotty about that, but again, my patience at this point in my life, especially having a 10-year-old boy who drives me a little bonkers, has been, tested. So just want to put that out there too. So my mom's so hard every day of my life. So to, do kids wired in the chair all day, girlfriend ain't about that life anymore. But for real, it is such a beautiful thing to see. And I put those little space buns in and I said, hold on a second. And I twisted my hair up and I put space buns in my hair, and I had my glasses on. She had her glasses on, and I said, "Now we're besties." And she just like had a moment, and it's like I don't know if she'll ever forget that. And for me to create that moment for her, and like her mom sitting there, like we're friends, and she's like in tears, like and there's a couple pictures too. If I could edit those into this, I'm gonna share them. And I think that that's really, honestly, it just gives me so much joy. And it's like why I do what I do. And it's completely passion driven again to see these special things. And it's like, it made me really think like honor your 8-year-old self, right? And it's building her confidence. It's building her confidence as a little girl. It's building her confidence as a woman. It's building her confidence as coming into a salon and having somebody else touching your head. We're in this crazy ass world where we're taught these boundaries, like don't do this, don't do that, don't let people touch you, don't. People are evil, people are this, people are that. Like we have to create these safe places, and that's what I really, really do in my chair. That's really what we try to do here at the salon. Like this, definitely the salon in particular. Like we want to be inviting. We want to be safe. We want you to feel safe. We want you to feel welcomed. We want our kids to feel safe. Owner has 4 children of her own. We really do want to protect and honor the integrity of just what it is to thrive as a hairstylist in this industry, to butchered and keeping them at a level of just high expectations. And with that said, it's to honor, and it's not about putting them in a and I want to say this very delicately too. It's not about putting him in a car that goes beep beep. That's like, it's cool for like a baby and stuff like that, like a safe place. I get it. And, like look at the iPad and stuff. But for me, it's about the personal connection, and it always has been. We didn't have, I mean, maybe they had the car when I was a kid. I don't know. I didn't get that far because I had the bowl, the pot on my head. The pasta, the pasta water just was just dumped, and it was probably burning my scalp as it was dripping down. But we definitely had we had different ways of doing things back when I was a kid, and we now put kids in like the cars, beep beep, the ladybugs, flutter flutter, and the the iPads. Here's the phone, watch this. And we didn't do any of that. There was not like, oh, here's the phone here, I got the phone next to you. We got to stop that. We have to stop that. Value your 8-year-old self and be in the moment and be present, because you're not going to be like a viable adult sitting there in the chair of the salon with the phone in your hand. Well, yeah, the clients are, but for real, you're going to want to sit there, and you're going to want to learn how to talk about your appointment and talk about what you want, what you don't want, and what you want to relay, right? Just like that, my friend's little girl drew me her pictures of the haircut that she wanted to communicate at an 8-year-old level and tell me exactly what she wanted. As most of my clients, my little clients do, openly communicate with me and say, this is what I want. And maybe it is because there is that comfortability level that I have with them, because I know most of them. And that's fine. That is great. But that's also where the success is coming from. And that is why I say to value your 8-year-old self and bring it back, because we need to protect these little beings, and we need to value these haircuts too, and keep them going and let them express what they are talking about. If it's through pictures, if it's through anything, if it's through drawing it, and if they want a mohawk, let them have a mohawk. And they want to express themselves through color, a little bit here and there. But it's so fun, and I can't wait to see my like next generation of my cool kids, where they're going and what they're doing, because they are really like such special people, and I love their parents so much too, and I'm so thankful that they have brought them into my life, because they keep me on my toes, boy. They do. They make me smile, and they give me something to look forward to when I see them in my chair. And of course, my toughest client is my own, my spawn. I created a monster with him, so maybe one day I'll get him on my podcast too. But I've kept him under wraps for a while, now. So with that said, don't warm up your scissors at home. Do not cut your kids' hair. Do not take the buzzer out. Bring them in for cuts. Establish a relationship with a hairstylist, because your kids deserve it and they appreciate that. Believe me, they will thank you for that when they are in their teens and when they're at college, and when they have to go to a barber and explain what they want and they know how to. So thank you. And it's a good lesson learned. So honor your 8-year-old self. Remember where you came from and break the cycle if it's been the kitchen scissors your entire life. You don't need to cut them. Don't warm them up. Don't even take them out. Keep them in the junk drawer. That's where they belong. So thank you for joining me. I'm going to take the headphones off, and I'm sure that it is loud as anything in here, but you know what? I got through it and I wasn't distracted, and I actually don't think that I stuttered too badly, but it was episode 11. Honor your 8-year-old self. And we will be back in another 2 weeks. It will definitely be March in another 2 weeks. Here's the ambiance. Here's the salon. Here's half of the salon. Here's the hooded dryer. And if you guys sit underneath this when you were younger, we still have them here. Yes, because we do rubber sets and wet sets and all that stuff too. We're multi-talented here. So, as always, follow me on every single platform that you can, and there'll be a new platform introduced probably the end of March. Any guesses what it could be? I'm not going to give you any hints, but it's TikTok. Oh. Stay Hairly Relatable, everybody, and I'll see everybody in March for episode number 12. We're doing it. We're actually doing it. Maybe one day somebody will pick me up and I'll be famous. Then I'll have to do kids cuts all the time. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not doing them. Bye.